Today's adventure takes me to the state of Illinois, the county of DuPage, and to the city of Downers Grove, where behind me is Main Street Cemetery. This is one of the older cemeteries in Downers Grove. It is a pioneer cemetery. It has about 126 graves here. Civil War soldiers are here. People that helped with the Underground Railroad are here. The first burial was 1844. So come join me as we explore Main Street Cemetery. Hello again, everybody, as we explore another wonderful old pioneer cemetery, this time in the downtown area of Downers Grove. As we enter here, we see some signage. Main Street Cemetery looks like a little bit of a history here. The entrance to the cemetery was 1 block west of present-day Main Street. Oh, so most of the inscriptions are facing west because the original entrance was west. Now the entrance is east off of Main Street. And you can read that. And it looks like we have a little bit of history here as well. The Blodgett family, which is a well-known family in this cemetery. We have some pictures and then some plot information, but let's go ahead and take a look down here and see what we can find. You know, right away we have this nice old replacement stone. Jane Dalrymple Kennedy? Dalrymple? I don't know. I've completely butchered that. You can tell that is a replacement stone. And here we do have a Civil War soldier. Again, I would say nearly 100% of these old pioneer cemeteries that I do go in, there are Civil War soldiers. There's the church bells echo in the background. Israel Blackburn, 1st Sergeant, Company C, 124th Regiment. Thank you for your service. See the GAR, Grand Army of the Republic. People out going for a walk on this. It's a little bit brisk out this morning on this spring day. Downers Grove Civil War Memorial, 105th Illinois Volunteers on Lookout Mountain. That's pretty neat, that photo there. You could see buried here those soldiers, about 10 of them. Sucher's the name on this one. Now the first burial here is that of Michael Sucher in 1844. He was a child. So Sucher is another famous, not famous, but popular name in this cemetery. Philippe Sucher, age 41, born 1816 in France. Died in Downers Grove. Son of Johann and Elizabeth Sucher. Again, a newer tombstone or replacement one. George Blanchard here. Looks like he died in 1863. I believe he died in the Civil War. Here we go, right here. That's not George, that was Captain. And here's another stone for him. Captain Walter Blanchard, Company K, 13th Illinois Volunteer Infantry. Died of wounds in Chattanooga, Tennessee, 1863. He was at 56 years old, fighting in the Civil War. Sounds a little nuts these days, but people of all ages fought in the Civil War, from barely being teenagers all the way to being senior citizens almost. Here's Emily Atwood, wife of William Pye, age 22. Died very young. Very nice monument here. Draped urn. There's Mary Thomas. A lot of replacement stones in this cemetery. Let's see what we have here. Samuel Richards is the name on this. Private Company D, 105th Illinois Infantry. Died at South Tunnel, Tennessee, January 28th, 1862, at 20 years of age. Thank you for your service. Angeline Richards. Austin Richards here, died in 1903. And Irene Richards died 1885. I do like that they did replace the stones. I wish they could have saved the originals, but they might have been too far destroyed. But it'd been nice to be able to somehow put the originals near these replacement ones so we can see what the originals look like. Austin Pye, 1864. John Richard Pye, born in England, died 1852. He's only 4 years of age. See, something like this, you have the original and then you have, not a replacement, but a little plaque here, baby Alvin Porter. Died September 28th, 1858. He was only about 8 months old. Beautiful area here in Downers Grove, Illinois. As we walk further up this path, see a placard here, the Underground Railroad. And you can read that. Downers Grove had many abolitionists who operated these stations. Samuel Curtis, Pierce Downer, who Downers Grove is named after, David Page, Robert Dixon, Henry Carpenter, the name goes on. Israel Blodgett, which is a Blodgett name is very prominent in this cemetery. And Blodgett is also a name that you see in Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. Of course, the famous haunted Bachelor's Grove. Blodgett is a name in there as well. Charles Blodgett, just barely a year old. Here's the Blodgett Monument here. And here we see Israel, who helped with the Underground Railroad. Born 1797 in Massachusetts, died 1861 here in Downers Grove. And his wife, Avis, also born Massachusetts, 1796, and died 1882. So she lived to be rather old. It says residents of Illinois since 1830. So they were definitely some of the very early residents of Illinois. Indians were still prominent around here. Daniel Kingsley Blodgett, 1830 to 1849, again, teenager. And then we have Mary Pomeroy Blodgett, their daughter, 1828, 1856. So she wasn't even 30. So it seems like their children, unfortunately, died young. Let's see what this monument is here. Curtis is the name, Charles Curtis, 1826, 1897. And then his wife, Laura, 1838 to 1918. And you could tell there are plenty of unmarked graves in here. Some are sunk, some are not. It says 126 entombed here in this cemetery. And here is the first burial of the cemetery. Walter and Michael Sucher died 1844. Old field, very old. I wonder if this is Katie, 1840 to 1865, and her daughter, 1862 to 1865. So her daughter, unfortunately, she passed away in September, right after her daughter passed away in August. Never good at all. So just to go back to the Blodgett Memorial here a second. So Israel, I mentioned that he was part of the Underground Railroad. He was also a blacksmith, one of the first blacksmiths in the area. And his one daughter, Mary, who we saw over here, who wasn't even 30 years old, she was one of the first school teachers in the area. So a little bit of a fun fact there. And here we have Carpenter, Walter Carpenter, died at 22 years old. And how he died? Well, he died from a boiler explosion on the CB&Q Railroad in 1856. You know, you had steam engines back then, and shovel that coal in, and you would heat up that water to produce steam, and sometimes those boilers would explode on those trains and kill the engineers. And unfortunately, it did kill Walter. Henry Carpenter died 1891. Nice monument there. Martha, his wife, she died 1882, it looks like. So he actually outlived his wife, which is very rare for back then. Let's see what we have here. Samuel Curtis. See, this is nice. Born in Connecticut, 1789. Died in Downers Grove in 1867. He was a volunteer in the War of 1812. Used his scrip to purchase land here. Main Street Cemetery is located on part of his land. He operated a stable, tavern, helped establish a post office in Downers Grove, helped improve the Indian Trail that is now Maple Avenue, and was an active member of the Underground Railroad before the Civil War. Amazing, truly amazing. We have John Cotes, 1881, and Mary, his wife, 1857. And I believe this is his son. A nice obelisk here. John S. Cotes, son of John P. and Mary, born 1836, Private Company B, 105th Illinois Infantry, died at Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 1863, 26 years of age. Thank you for your service. And here's Mary R., not to be confused with Mary C., who's John's wife. So perhaps this was their daughter, is what I am thinking. Another nice obelisk. We have a base sunken into the ground here, and we also have a little marker here. I don't know if that's just a plot marker or if that's part of a tombstone or what that is. John Smith, Eliza. Let me see here, 141st Illinois Infantry, Company F. And then Gerald Smith, one of his sons, 156th Illinois Infantry Company A. Beautiful little cemetery here. I'm really happy they've kept this up. I'm sure at some point this probably was not in good shape and they restored it. Got Gardner, 1889. His wife Annis died 1894, and their children. How sad is that? Hannah died 1865, and Elzina also died in 1865. So much disease back then, no antibiotics. If you got an infection, good luck. Good luck, especially if you're a kid. Arthur Milo Root, Charles Root. It's interesting, they don't know when they died. And then we have some placards here that go with this monument. Albert, James, and Helen. And Abigail Stearns Root, born around 1785, died 1873. Daughter of Revolutionary War soldier Asa Stearns. That's pretty remarkable. And you can see that monument here. A lot of engraving on it. Still rather readable, which is nice. And we see along Main Street this beautiful fence. This is modern. This isn't the original one. You can see it's put together with modern screws and bolts. Columns, however, I don't know if these are original or not. Probably not. But they're older than the fences, that's for sure. There's probably an old wrought iron fence in there at one time that they replaced. You can see the entrance to the cemetery here in Downers Grove. This is off of Main Street. Here's the main entrance off of Main Street in a different perspective here. This talks a little bit about Downers Grove. You can pause and read that. And this as well. Pierce Downer, the founder of Downers Grove, is not buried in Main Street Cemetery. They have their own plot here in town. You can pause and read that as well. Beautiful area. As you come up the stairs and the walking path. Placard here, 1856. And let's go over here and take a look at what we've got here. This is a plot for a child, obviously. Gracie Wells, daughter of John and Arvelia, 5 years, 1 month, 18 days. And here there is no plot here, but it's Amy June Wells, another daughter, died 1894, 8 years of age. So it's sad. This one, Gracie, died 1883. A couple years later, Amy was born. She died as well. Here's John. And here's his wife, 88 years of age. That's not bad. Then we have Sarah Wells here. She died 1863, it looks like. Young as well. Really nice grave over here with the curbing. Let's get a fuller shot of that. And this is interesting. There's a nice, not that nice, but a bike there in the bushes. Who knows? Of course, people were chatting there outside the gates, which you probably heard on the video. Benjamin Morgan, 1827 to 1914, Volunteer Company B, 147th Illinois Infantry. Thank you for your service. He survived, went on to live a long life. Thank you everyone for joining me today on this walk here in Main Street Cemetery in Downers Grove, Illinois. Beautiful old pioneer cemetery, lots of history here. Civil War soldiers, Underground Railroad. You know, these are the people that created this area and came here from different countries to want to start a life here in America. And here they are, buried in this well-kept pioneer cemetery. So thank you for joining me today, and as always, keep exploring.